So this is my friend Edoardo.
Hi guys.
And me and Edoardo have a tradition. Whenever there's something crazy going on in tech, we go see each other, we get a beer, and we drink it while we talk about tech. And
what's better than that, right?
Nothing. We thought about doing it on camera now, but now we have to open the beer next to the mic.
You check out the sound. All right. Hopefully not spilling.
Oh yeah. I'll spill just a little bit.
Cheers, man.
Cheers. So, Jasper, right?
Yes.
So Jasper is this new startup that just raised $150 million at a $1.5 billion valuation.
Just peanuts, right?
Peanuts. How would you describe what they do?
Well, I guess they are the first ones that are really trying to extract serious value out of large language models like GPT-3. At least they're the first ones that I'm aware of that actually built a serious business model around it. Being aware of is applications like GitHub Copilot and things like that, and it's like a little bit gimmicky, very, very interesting. The technology is amazing, but nobody that I'm aware of was really making serious money so far, and they feel like some of the first ones.
There are a couple of other companies, but basically what these companies do, like I love just the simplicity of how they describe it. They say, write blog post 10 times faster. That's it. And there was an interview from the founder who said, I feel like most people don't care about the technology. They just want to write faster so that they can go pick up their kids from school a little bit earlier.
I guess the users don't care what's behind it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
and so
it's the tech nerds like us that care more about the backend.
Exactly. So to me, the amazing thing is that they make really a lot of money. Like the product, I've tried it. The product is pretty good.
Can you say exactly what it is, but maybe it's a little bit confusing. So yeah, it's pretty much what you said. It's a front end where I, as a social media user, can automate blog posts, articles, posts on Instagram. I can basically prompt the AI and, for example, write a short paragraph about trees, and then it's gonna kind of generate the text, and I can correct it and fill it in with my own thoughts, and then say put a picture of a tree of this kind, and it'll snap a picture in there. And then I can copy paste it, and there's like easy to use APIs where I can just post it on Instagram or whatever.
Yeah, that's in a nutshell what they do. And they're trying to do something more as well. They want to plug it into Gmail. They want to plug it into your browser.
I think they already have a Chrome extension.
Which is which is pretty cool. Which is pretty amazing, I think. I mean, the product itself, I think it's good. But what shocked me is how much money they're making.
Yeah, but who's paying for that? Is it like professional influencers and stuff like that?
I don't know.
It's not, dudes like me and you. I mean, you have a fairly big social media presence, but would you pay for how much does it cost also? It costs
$49 for 35,000 words.
Okay, so it goes by word?
By amount of words,
okay.
Yeah. I
have no reference. Is that a lot of words?
It's like maybe a blog post, a fairly long blog post is 1,000 words. So it's like 35 blog posts or something like this.
Okay, so it's fairly cheap.
Is it though? Like, I think the biggest kind of customer...
$1 per post?
Yeah, but I see a lot of companies that would be... Yeah, sure. When you put it that way, yes. It's free, basically.
Super cheap.
It's free. But I'm just imagining... I imagine a lot of agencies will be very happy using this. Imagine if you have a content marketing agency. Or if you have a, ghostwriting business.
Yeah, but see, that's my issue with it. So I'm very impressed by how it works and how good the model actually is. And we can talk about whether they actually deserve the credit for that, because I guess you could say it's OpenAI really, but we'll get into that later, I guess. But it's really like, isn't it a little bit lame to like automate post creation? Like, isn't the reason why we like influencers the fact that we actually get to see their personality and follow them and get their personal take? If you start to automate that, will social media not become just like all the crappy ads that we see on YouTube and television? By the way, can we swear on this video podcast?
We can swear. I like swearing. Yes. But I think I agree with you. But that's how 1% of the population thinks, unfortunately.
Okay, we're the large minority. But most people think it's super cool to automate social media posts, do you think?
No, I think that most people that do the right content, they are not that into the quality of what they're writing. Think about SEO, for instance, and that's a cool features that they have. You can select SEO optimization. Okay. So basically, you can generate
I'm not sure I know what SEO is.
SEO is search engine optimization. Okay. So basically, this AI will write a blog post that fits into everything that Google wants to read in order to have your blog rank high.
The likelihood that you'll end up in front of the
exactly.
consumer.
I believe that SEO ruined the world. Like right now, ruined the world. Okay. Absolutely. So it started off as something that made a lot of sense because Google was like, hey, there's 1 billion web pages on the internet. I need to find out which web pages are more relevant for my users. But since people started hacking it, so started finding tricks in order to rank higher, right now people don't write anymore for people. People write for algorithms.
Yeah.
And
I think that's fucked up, man. I'm sorry, but like
it is fucked up.
Call me like old school if you want. And also like I like tech and AI. I worked with that myself, so I'm very enthusiastic about the technology. But I think this is the wrong way to apply it in some way. I think it's.
And I agree with you, but unfortunately, that's how I think the vast majority of marketers think.
Right.
Like you don't write a blog post because you want to communicate something. You write a blog post because you want to be found when people search for X, Y, and Z, which unfortunately doesn't like in an ideal world. Value and ranking high would be highly correlated.
Yeah.
But have you ever experienced looking for something, especially if it's something very, let's say, common, like health problems or what are the best shoes to buy for running? You don't find anything of value. Like the first page is just crap.
Yes, the real problem is the search engine.
I think the real problem is the search engine. But then these guys are using AI to push out content that ranks high on Google like this, basically. And I see how a lot of marketers who don't think as you think, so you think like, I want quality,
Because otherwise it's a slippery slope, right? Because you will end up with worse and worse quality of the stuff you're writing. The ads will feel less and less relevant because they're not actually trying to make you interested as a human. They're just trying to optimize an algorithm. And in 5 years from now, we'll find ourselves in the same position where public TV is today, where most of the stuff you watch is completely irrelevant and you don't care.
Yeah.
Isn't that the danger a little bit? Like if you project the trajectory forward?
Yes, I agree 100% with you. And I think there's also another problem, which is if AI tools that generate content become the de facto standard to generate content, at some point there's not going to be new training data.
Yeah, but that will take a long time.
That will take a long time, but like, okay, now let's talk about how these guys are doing right now.
Yeah.
They launched a year and a half ago. In the first 4 days since they launched, they went from nothing to $3.5 million of annual recurring revenue.
Crazy. And their only cost, I guess, if you remove, personnel and salaries, is the API that they pay for to OpenAI.
And we'll get there. We'll explain how this thing works.
Yeah, I don't get it.
It's amazing, but it's amazing and crazy and annoying at the same time.
Okay.
Today they make $45 million per year. Mm-hmm. They have 70,000 customers.
Okay.
And I expect that these 70,000 customers are probably pushing out 5 times more content than everybody else.
So this is more like a B2B business, meaning their main customer is a company, is not an individual. You could argue some influencers are actually companies, but yes, they're so big, like Chiara Ferragni basically is a brand. But their main customers are marketing agencies. They are large corporations.
I think so. I will assume so. Like they have a bunch of logos on their company, on their website of like big companies like Airbnb or this kind of stuff. But this is something that actually was very disturbing for me to see. Mm-hmm. They had a demo where they were like, you can automate interactions with your customers. So they had this bot that would generate personalized answers to people commenting on Instagram.
Okay.
Like imagine, I have, hey, a new beer, buy the new beer, blah, blah, blah. And people are like, oh my God, amazing. And then comment, oh yeah, cool. By the way, I really like your picture. Yeah. And it's a bot writing this.
Yeah.
So I think that's the kind of customer, somebody who needs high volume content production, which is not...
So to stimulate engagement, but not actually hire social media managers somehow.
Which I am wondering, by the way, you're making me think a lot about this. There's a new, in the AI Act, the new regulation that the European Union is pushing out. Mm-hmm. They're saying that it's compulsory for a company to make it clear when a customer is interacting with AI.
Makes sense, right?
I wonder if they're going to have to watermark everything they write.
I think it would make sense. I mean, it would be almost like a little bit scammy, right? If I thought I was interacting with a human, and then it's actually a computer, right? And imagine this. Okay, now maybe it's indirectly connected, I guess. But imagine like Twitter bots, right? If you have the technology behind this and you want to create a bajillion Twitter accounts, now you not only automate the posting, you can even automate the interaction through the comments. And let's remember, OpenAI, the GPT-3 algorithm is trained on the internet, and people are assholes.
Yeah.
So, you basically get into, like, the AI will get into fights with people, especially on Twitter.
So that I'm not super worried about, because I think the most of the research that they're doing right now is around safety. So I see a lot of the innovation around large language models, which, for people that don't know what large language models are, is the underlying technology that powers all these kind of products. So it's an AI that knows how to generate text that is coherent with a prompt, basically. A prompt may be a tweet from somebody, and you want to generate an answer, and the AI generates an answer that makes sense. That's the large language model concept. And GPT-3 is the first and the best language model.
And the crazy thing is, that prompt could be a doc string, which is basically a piece of code where you explain what your next function should do, and then it's going to write the code for you. I mean, that's just mind-blowing.
It's mind-blowing. It could be anything. I've done so many tests. It translates as well. Like, you put a piece of text in Italian and you say, translate this to English, and it just...
It's crazy.
It's insane. But anyway, I see that a lot of the research around the new language models is not around making them better or more accurate, but is around making them safer, making them, more controllable in a way.
But isn't that mostly patching? Meaning, what actually... So here's... I have to qualify the fact that I don't actually know. I just read a bunch of stuff, and it could very well be that, like, 30% of what I read is total crap, but... Like, isn't it true that basically safety in terms of these language models today kind of looks like we have the language model, it's going to spit out what it's going to spit out, and then we just put band-aids on top.
Yes.
Or we basically filter through bad answers, and it's about, in some way, it's about prompt engineering and also output engineering to make sure that your AI will be safe, but actually the model is not safe.
The model is not safe. No, the model is pushing crap out, and then you try to validate. This is one of the approaches, but it's the one that most companies are using because it's the easiest one.
Simplest, exactly. It's much harder to actually train a model not to be offensive or racist.
Because you could do two things, basically. You could either filter the data in the beginning to try to take out, racist slur and all this kind of stuff.
Model for if you want to do it on scale, right?
Super hard, yeah. Or you create an algorithm that has all the crap, and then you filter the crap after.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of companies are doing.
Yeah.
But I'm not worried that their technology is going to have these kind of issues. I think they are smart enough to apply all these kind of filters.
So Jasper specifically. Yeah.
Interesting thing, Jasper, I looked at their job board yesterday. I was like, who are these guys hiring? Like, the technology itself could be like potentially really hard to build.
Yeah, but they don't really own the technology again.
Yes, they do not. Here, now we can talk about how the product is built. They're not hiring researchers. So they're not hiring the kind of people that is able to build that technology. They are buying that technology from GPT-3, 100%.
From OpenAI,
From OpenAI, yes. So they're buying GPT-3 from OpenAI, And they have data engineers and NLP engineers. So NLP will be natural language processing. It would be the kind of people that do the patching, I am supposing.
Yeah, so this is my question about it. So So GPT-3 is supposed to be open source, or, well, I guess they closed sourced it because they were afraid of the consequences.
Yeah.
But fundamentally, I think you can download the weights of the neural network. Is that correct?
Not GPT-3. You can download the weights of other model inspired by GPT-3. Like Bloom, for instance, is a free one.
Yeah. So, but if we stick to GPT-3, then what happens is, which is also, I guess, OpenAI's business model. Well, it's not really open AI anymore, but it doesn't matter.
Closed AI.
Closed AI. But I guess they expose an API, and some of that is free, and then open over a certain usage, or if you want to have some guarantees for amount of calls you can make and stuff like that, you start paying, right? Is that how it works?
Yes.
So that also means that the core, the most important part of Jasper is not owned by Jasper.
So this is what Jasper is doing, I think, and what everybody else is doing, Copy.ai and a bunch of other competitors. This is my guess, but I am 99% confident this is what they're doing.
Okay.
Using GPT-3 is not super easy. I don't know if you've played with it.
I haven't.
I had lots of fun playing with it. It was mind-blowing. I used it mostly to get inspiration for copy on my website.
Right.
Like, I do stuff like AI Academy is releasing a new course that helps anybody understand AI. This is the headline of their website. Column, it spits out something that usually is really fun.
So crazy.
It's insane. I write half of a blog post, and when I'm stuck, I just let it continue, and it's amazing. But it's not easy to use. There's a lot of weird parameters that you have to control. There's a parameter called temperature, which is basically how crazy the AI can be. 0 is like very just like to the point. It's like a German AI. 1 is like a crazy drunk Italian guy who
just... So they're learning how to use and tune all these parameters. But fundamentally, the day OpenAI decides to raise the price or to close it or to open source it, they're fucked.
Are they though? Because what they've done 2 things. They've done 1, they made it easy for people to use, which means that when you use that system, you don't need to worry about temperature or and penalization, all these parameters that are weird. You just say, I want a blog post, I want this tone of voice. You can also say, I want to copy the tone of voice of this author that I like, and then you generate it. So it's a UX innovation, which is not defendable, and I agree with you.
No, but I'm not like shaming them. I think it's an amazing product what they built, and I'm not saying it's like, I'm not trying to say it's not hard to do what they did. What I'm saying is there's a fundamental danger to the business model.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like depending 100% on Google because your company is built on a search engine, or it's the same with Facebook, right? Like Facebook is, or Meta, I guess, Meta's applications are on iPhones. If Apple changes the privacy policy, your business model gets hurt.
100%. I agree with you, but I don't think they're in danger for 2 reasons. 1, there's a lot of competition around creating these fundamental language models. So I believe that if they swap GPT-3 to Bloom, their business is going to be okay. Number 2, a lot of those language models are becoming open source, which means they can just download it and running on their cloud.
So that's what I thought they were doing, that they actually had downloaded the...
I don't know.
Weights.
I did the math. I calculated this. I saw their pricing, and I tried to see how much I would pay if instead of using them, I used the technology that they are using to power their service, assuming that that's GPT-3, but it's probably GPT-3. We know that...
So we don't know that for sure?
This, in the beginning, it was. I don't know if they're still using it today.
Okay.
I am 99.9% confident that this is what they're using.
Okay.
You know what's their margin? What's their markup?
I was going to say, let me guess. So it's above 99%, I would guess.
Oh, yes, it is.
So
yes.
Their margin, so let's just pause there for a second. Their margin is above 99%.
Yes. So, okay, let's put it this way. When you give $40 to Jasper, how much money do you think they give OpenAI?
20 cents?
€1.
$1, okay.
So it's 40x. Okay. So it's like 4,000% margin.
Crazy.
It's insane.
It's crazy.
And actually, it's going to be even more.
So I was talking about what the portion, so I think we were doing the margin calculation differently. I was talking about what out of the revenue, what is the portion? What is the portion that is pure profit?
Yeah, sure.
So if they were pricing at $100 and the cost is only $1, then it's 99. So it's actually lower than 99%. But
it's lower than 99%. It's huge. And it's actually even more because the pricing is different. So on Jasper, you pay per month with that limit. But if you use less than 35,000 tokens, then it starts again. Whereas OpenAI, you buy the tokens. So if 1 month you used 10,000 tokens, then your margin is 40x times 3, so 120x. That's their markup. Let's call it that way.
Yeah, but again, that depends a lot on the pricing on OpenAI side.
But OpenAI just cut their pricing by 66%.
They did what?
They cut their price by 66%.
Why?
Because the competition, because that's what the market is pushing. I think there are 3 reasons why they're doing it. 1 is because just compute is cheaper. 2, competition. 3, a lot of companies pushing open source stuff out. Like Bloom is open source, which is not as good as GPT-3, but pretty good,
Did you check out that video from, by the way, shout out to Centex on YouTube.
Amazing guy, I love him.
Did you know about him before?
I studied with him 7 years ago.
I also learned Python with the guy, and it's my job now, so I have to I literally owe him every single dollar that I make every year. But anyway, so he made this couple of videos. Was it on Bloom?
Bloom.
Yeah, and it looks as good as GPT-3.
GPT-3 is better, I think, especially when you want to have a very specific output.
Right, and Bloom was like a French research.
The big science initiative or something like this. Yeah, they spent $5 million to train this.
It's so cool.
Okay, now I want to tell you this opinion that I have. I feel like I want to borrow some terminology from the blockchain, okay?
Okay. Ooh, buzzwords.
Buzzwords, blockchain, AI. But I feel like we're getting to this situation where we have something like layer 1 AI. These are the foundational models like GPT-3, like DALL-E. These are the core technologies that give, it's pure functionality, it's pure power, it's pure tech, okay? Then you have layer 2, which are companies like Hugging Face that are making it easier to spin out these models out. And then you have layer 3, which are
applications.
It's Jasper basically.
Yeah.
And now if you go back, what is going on to layer 1? What's going on in layer 1 is that a lot of companies are making these models open source. So there's really no business in layer 1.
I still also don't get why are people open sourcing these things?
I think two things. One is if you're Facebook, you're never gonna launch a API business, like a cloud business.
You don't care actually.
That's not your business. So there's this idea of, well, I'm gonna destroy everybody else, and my output is just that people look at me as a cool guy.
It's a race to the bottom.
It's a race to the bottom.
Interesting.
The other thing is, if you're Google, what you care about is just that people run their shit on your cloud. You don't.
So compute.
You want to sell compute. So if people have technology, they're gonna deploy that technology on your fucking cloud. And you're gonna make money with the cloud. That's how you want to make money.
100%.
That's how Microsoft wants to make money.
That's why Google bought DeepMind and all those AI companies.
That's why Microsoft.
Ultimately, it's a cloud play.
That's why Microsoft played. What did they do with OpenAI? Did they bought them? I don't understand what's the deal there.
I think they just made a partnership for GitHub Copilot. But I don't think they bought them.
As far as I know,
maybe they invested in the company. I'm not sure.
I think that they did some sort of exclusive partnership thing where GPT-3 runs on Microsoft Cloud.
It's very possible.
But whatever. So layer 1, basically, there's no money there because like everybody's just trying to downprice everybody else.
Race to zero.
Layer 2, it's I think where it's the most interesting area.
Probably more difficult, I guess.
Yeah, it's very hard because it's all engineering. But like, if you think about it, Hugging Face, I love this. So let me tell you this story. I use an API from Google to transcribe my videos. And I pay them, obviously. It's pretty cheap, but I pay them. OpenAI open sourced Whisper, which is a speech-to-text model that does exactly what Google does, but it's free. So Google now is fucked because they're like, whoa, there's something better than us out there for free. You know who doesn't care? Who's actually happy? Hugging Face.
Of course.
Because Hugging Face is like, you guys keep fighting for who pushes the best model out. I just deploy them. That's it. So if the best one is Google, if the best one is Facebook, if the best one is OpenAI, Hugging Face doesn't care. And I don't care either. I just query Hugging Face and I tell them, give me the best model. And they're like, here you go.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of more or less what Snowflake is doing as with like this multi-cloud idea. So you have the providers of some type of technology that builds on the cloud where they don't really care who's the cloud provider. They can actually interface with whoever. They'll spin your jobs, for example, on the cheapest possible source, but that they provide that middle ground. I think that's smart.
It's amazing because like the level down, level 1, everybody's fighting with each other, and you win. Whoever wins, you don't care. Is Facebook winning? Is OpenAI winning? Whatever. You guys keep fighting.
Almost like a marketplace, right? That middle layer is almost like an exchange.
It is. And then there's layer 3. Layer 3 is applications, basically. And the amazing thing is what OpenAI, what everybody in layer 1 and layer 2 wants to do is they want to democratize these things. They want to make it easy. They want to make it fast. They want to make it cheap for people to build applications.
So the guys in level 3 are also happy about everything that's
They're happy because down there, they're all fighting. And so like,
so my take on level 3 is at this point is it really the best thing we can do with an amazing tech like GPT-3 or language models to automate social media posts? Like, why hasn't anybody come up with something that like is more meaningful? It feels like to me as a society we could do something better with that amazing tech, right?
I think we are still in a phase where we have a hammer looking for a nail. We have a great solution looking for a problem. And scaling content, I agree with you, it's shitty. And
basically what we can do now with the thing that is closest to AGI is write blog posts and make funny pictures. When you think about it that way, it's like And it's insane that we got this far, but why can we not find something more useful, like to everyone on the street, like in the real world, you know?
What would it be?
I have no fucking idea. Otherwise, I would have made a startup and probably be a millionaire.
I think there is an argument to say, well, if like try to imagine the value proposition that the Jasper founder was saying, but scaled by 10x. So he said, what I want from my product is that people go back home and go pick up their kids because they work less.
Of course, you would say that.
But if you 10x that, if you say, well, you know, all these tools are going to help us to do the work of 8 hours into 2, then we get close to something like fully automated luxury communism, which is a concept that I still talk about.
I mean, a hopeful future, right? But here's one thing that I think I'm wondering why nobody has built yet, which is an automatic debugger. So I code, right? I manage a team of 7 guys that are eggers that are basically writing Python code all day, every day, 5 days a week. And most of the time they spend, once they have actually developed something, is basically finding what's not working, why is it not working? And essentially what the debugging process is about is reading stack traces, interpreting what it's telling us. Stack trace is basically the amount of very ugly red print you get when you've made a mistake in your code, right? You read the stack trace, you try to understand where you made the mistake, and then you fix the text. This is a text-to-text problem.
Yeah.
Can language models not help in something like this? I mean, Copilot is kind of doing that, but not really. Why isn't there a company that why can we not automate Stack Overflow?
Yes, but now we're getting into the hot part of layer 3. Layer 3 gets interesting, I think, when people take general technology and they verticalize it to specific use cases. I'll give you another example, which is probably easier to visualize for people as well.
Yeah.
So you have DALL-E, which is the technology to generate funny images. Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
You just say, plain text, and bam, you get an output. Now, I'm looking for a new apartment. I'm trying to move somewhere else, and I found this nice apartment that was unfurnished. And my imagination sucks, so I could not see how that would look like with furniture. And I just took the image, I suck at Photoshop, I put it into DALL-E, and I said, I want to have a red couch right here. Ba-dum, red couch. And I was like, cool. Wait. I showed it to our friend Ambra, who works for our company here in Denmark. They do
lighting,
let's say.
Indoor climate lighting
exactly.
Stuff, yeah.
And she was like, can you put a window over there? And I'm like, yeah, put a window over there. But here you go. And she was like, what the hell? Like, this is absolutely insane.
Sorry, but IKEA has that in their app, and they've had it for the last 3 years, right? You just drag over a sofa, you put it in a corner,
Sure, you're right. But that's...
You don't need DALL-E for that. You need 3D space imaging and basically...
I mean, but it's pretty limited.
Reality if you want.
If I wanted to actually modify something, like make this wall pink, or put there are cases where you...
But again, is that the best thing we can do with this stuff?
No, you're right. It's probably...
so lame, man.
It's a bit lame.
I think we can do better than that. I don't know what. I think code and automatic debugging feels very relevant to me because I live that every day, and I understand that might not be the simplest application to understand for people that don't code, but that's a meaningful one because if we can improve the speed of pushing code out by 10%, I mean that's billions or trillions of dollars in GDP, right? That's an example of what one could do. But I think you can find even more.
Basically, what I'm trying to say, if you think about it, what you're trying to say and what I'm trying to say as well, is there are vertical applications that make the life of specific individuals, specific jobs, specific careers, 30% faster, 30% easier.
Yeah.
That could make your life debugging easier. That could make the life of architects easier.
Here's one. This is probably super meaningful also. How about making slides pretty?
Oh my God, thank you. Like death by PowerPoint.
Exactly. So I think I've heard stories about McKinsey, which is one of the biggest consulting companies. And for years, what they were doing, I don't know, I hope they're not doing that today, but I'm afraid they are. For years, what they were doing is a senior partner would basically sketch out a slide on a piece of paper, just with a pen and do, some simple drawings and write text, and then it would snip a picture and send it to India. And some guy in India would basically PowerPoint that drawing and then send it back. And here you go. It is a nice PowerPoint slide. Hasn't anybody done that in terms of using DALL-E or some combination of that, where you just take my drawing and turn it into an effective,
oh my God,
smart PowerPoint slide?
I've done a hackathon in Rome 6 years ago, where I built something called, I think I called it Slideify.
Yeah.
So basically the way it worked is that you drew on post-its your slide, and then you could, put a bunch of different post-its, and then you will take a picture. Then I will find all the post-its. I will do OCR to understand what's the text. And then I will put it on. There was a tool called reveal.js.
Okay.
That was basically PowerPoint on JavaScript, kind of, And then I will create a slide deck just from text, just from writing, basically. I think there's a lot of these kind of narrow use cases that are fairly narrow, but like,
it's also pretty lame to make PowerPoint slides.
but like, how many are there? Like, how many use cases like this are there?
Yeah, I think you're right. There's a lot of fairly small, in quotes, stuff like this.
But I think all these small businesses are still multi-million-dollar businesses.
Yeah, probably.
And imagine if you had a tool that will help architects sketch out designs 10 times faster. It's just a sketching tool.
I'm afraid that architects will be a little bit picky about stuff like this, no?
Probably, but no, you have, like, I think, there are stages where you just want to do something fast and dirty, and maybe you can do it.
I fully agree. Prototyping and moving fast is probably a good place where this stuff could go. But yeah.
But then if you put it that way, if you start thinking about these AI applications as, it's not the application itself that is going to change the world. It's not DALL-E itself that is going to change the world.
It's whoever builds it.
But it's 15, 20, 30, 100 vertical applications that integrate DALL-E into architectural design, into movie scripting, into, I have no idea, graphic design, into PowerPoint slides.
God, animations in movies.
I've been chatting with a producer from Hollywood about this.
That feels like a powerful one. But will we be able to do 3D moving pictures?
NERF.
AI?
Have you heard something about NERF? Nope. Neural Radiance Field. It's basically a technology where you make just a few pictures moving around a human being or an object, whatever, and AI just kind of builds up the 3D model of this.
Yeah, I think I have heard about it. Isn't Apple using that in the latest iPhones, where you can actually change the pose of yourself in a picture, and they will guess what your hidden side is looking like?
I haven't tried that.
I take a picture like this, and then I tell the AI, switch me to face the other side, and it'll actually be able to do that if I have done what you described, where you kind of...
Oh my God, I haven't tried it, but it will make sense. I've seen a video.
I read that somewhere yesterday.
I've seen a video that was shocking. It was this girl who made a video with just a phone walking around her, and then an AI thing turned that into a drone shot. So it turned the video into how that video would look like if it was taken, from a drone flying around her. Just making this sort of smart interpolation of what the hell was going on.
Makers probably are excited about this.
But that's the thing. I saw the video product of, it was the demo of I don't remember the name of this company. It's doing AI for video editing, and it will do things like you would just type fade to black, and then fades to black, or merge this, or change the background to, I don't know, whatever, cloudy sky, and you're done. And that's I think what is super hot and potentially could be the revolution. What if all this technology is about a paradigm shift in the way that we interact with computers?
Yeah, it could be.
So right now we are stuck in interacting with computers by clicking on buttons, and then there's someone who has coded what happens when you click on this button. Mm-hmm. If you click on button X, then there's a fade to black. Here you go. If you click to button Y, then the two video merge.
Like Photoshop or whatever. Yeah.
Natural fucking language, bro.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But I have no doubt that the job of programmers will become telling a computer what code to write. I mean, we're basically already there.
Kind of.
In 5 years from now, GPT-3 or someone like that, GPT-5, I guess, will be so good that you will be able to actually say, write in Python a function that does this, or maybe even speak it and it'll do it. You need to speak the language because you'll have to debug what the computer has written. But I think that's no doubt that's where we're going, 100%.
But then my question is, how do you actually get there? My mother, for instance, she worked for IBM, And her job in the beginning was to help people use Word, a word processor. And which now if I feel like, what do we have to explain? Like you open it and you type and it appears there. And then you can edit stuff, sure.
You don't even have to type, you can speak to it, right?
Now you can speak to it probably, but like that's how it works. Still, people needed training because it was a new way of interacting with the machine. They were used to either a typewriter when you cannot edit. And these were concepts that are so ingrained into your brain when you've been doing that job for 10 years. So I'm wondering if we switch this way, if this is paradigm shift of changing the way that we interact with computers from clicking to actually just saying whatever the fuck we want the computer to do and the computer is going to do it, do we need to massively retrain everybody? Like, how does that shift look like? Because I agree, like, there is a future that we can see kind of in 10 years from now, 5 years from now, where it's going to be possible to tell a computer, generate software that does X, Y, and Z.
I don't think it's that far away. I mean, I think it's here.
Let's say like 3 years, whatever.
I think 5 is a good guess. I mean, it's right there. But the problem is, what I think the problem will be is in the trustworthiness. Like, when will it be? When will we be in the point where what the computer generates after I told it to write a function that does X, I can actually trust it that what it came out with is correct and it's going to do exactly what I want it to. So, and that's going to be hard. That's going to be freaking hard.
For sure. But even before, how does the process look like of telling everybody in the world, yo, bro, you've worked in a way before, you don't do this anymore. Let's say the easiest thing would be you just tell a computer what to do and then you check that it's correct.
Yeah.
How does the process of doing this giant societal shift from we humans are in charge of building stuff to computers are in charge of building it, we just need to tell them what we want in a nice way, basically.
Yeah.
How does that process look like? Do we need to retrain 7 billion people?
I think it's just going to happen, man. It's the same with the internet, right? Like, imagine pre-internet. Feels like a long time ago, but me and you were around 30 years old. We remember the days where internet was not there.
It was weird, man.
Yeah, and like, you remember when you were connecting to your modem and it would make this funny little noises like, and then it would be slow as fuck. So, like, it's the same thing with the internet. Nobody had a master plan where we said, now we have this huge technology, we need to retrain a bazillion people in using the thing that is the internet. It was so good. It was so useful that people just started using it. And by the way, I really think of AI, for example, the fundamental models, or how are they called?
Language models?
No, yeah, but like the
foundational models.
Foundational models, thank you. Not fundamental, but foundational. It's very similar to the internet in a way. Like the internet in itself, does that have value? Maybe. You can send data around the world, cool. But what actually has trillions of dollars of value is the applications built on top of the internet.
Yeah.
It's somehow similar to what's happening with AI. And so I think we're going to go through the same type of transition, that the alternative, the new, better way of doing things, it's so much better and so much easier. Then people would just like, oh, why should I type my shit on the keyboard when I can just talk to the thing, you know?
And I'm thinking...
And imagine how noisy programming offices will become when everyone is talking to the computer instead of doing click, click, click.
It'll be a shit show. But hopefully you don't have to go to the office that much. So...
Should we get into the work from home stuff? I'm not sure. I'm a fan of the office, man.
Are you?
I will admit that right here, right now.
I never had an office, man.
I'm showing up 4 days a week
cool.
Because I love it.
What do you like about it?
So I love the physical. So you never worked in a... Have you worked in a proper corporate setting?
Yes, but I was consulting a company and I did not have a good time.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit different, but maybe it's... Yeah, at least you got the gist, I guess. But I'll give you another example that maybe gives a feeling of the way I think about this. I go to the gym 3-4 times a week, whatever.
Ripped.
I would never... No, I'm not ripped. I have many rolls here on my belly, but that's okay. I would never have a home gym. Because I like the idea that I have to get my ass off the couch and walk to the gym. The gym that I go to is literally across the street. So I really love that. So it's not a long walk, but I do have to change my clothes, get my ass off the couch, get out the door, go to the gym. And then when I'm done, it feels good. I can say to myself, I've been to the gym. If I had it at home, I would probably like, nah, I can do it later, and then like procrastinate, right? It feels a little bit like that with the office, where I like actually going there. It's a place where I focus. I think about work when I'm there, and then when I'm out, I stop thinking about work, and I'm home.
Oh, wow. This will be
switch.
This will be amazing because I cannot stop. Like but that's also my life. Like the kind of like the line between work and personal life.
It's blurry, man. When you work from home, it's blurry.
Blurry as fuck. But like it's also blurry because of, I think, the nature of my work as well.
Yeah, but
like what am I doing now? Am I working?
So
I get true. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing.
It's very interesting, the question whether now you are. I'm definitely not working, but are you working?
I'm having fun, but like I have fun most of the time.
Yeah, but
when
so
I'm
do
working,
I. But anyway, just to get back to that, there's not only the thing about sort of changing location. There's also the interaction with people,
which I think is the most important thing.
I mean, the power of standing up from my desk and going for a coffee with a colleague. And like literally what we do is we grab the cup, we just raise it up and we start walking through the floor, and people see someone walking with a cup raised up, so they understand that it's a coffee train, so people just join like that. It's
That's amazing.
Yeah, then you just go on and chat away and talk about whatever, and then have a coffee, you come back, you're back to work. But there's the human interaction that I oftentimes miss when I'm working from home. And the final thing is, man, we have an amazing canteen. Like the fact that I don't have to cook for myself, and someone has done that for me, and it's really good. By the way, I work for Ørsted, shameless plug. We're hiring.
It's a really good company. Like he's not the only one who's happy about it. Every person I know that works for your company is like, it's good, man. And I'm like, damn, I should find a job
pretty
there.
Good. But anyway, so I guess it's the getting my ass out of the house. It's meeting the people. It's the having the lunch, and then the last thing I'll mention is the personal interaction with like senior management or people above you in the organization.
Yeah.
Like the fastest way to hope for a career, or the best way to actually position yourself in a way that can actually help you in your career, I think, is to build a personal relationship with the decision makers. If they know who you are, they have an eye-to-eye conversation with you, they connect with you on a personal level, this is my opinion, then you much more likely to get given the responsibility you want when you want to take an extra step.
For sure. I mean, at the end of the day, companies are made of people.
Yeah.
Companies are made of people and networks of people. But what do you think? Have you heard about what Airbnb is doing when it comes to remote work?
I'm not sure I'm aware of exactly what Airbnb is.
I think it's cool. They're doing basically, if you want, you can work fully remote.
Yeah.
But it's compulsory that once per quarter, all the team spends at least, I think, 1 week together. Mm-hmm. And that week can be anywhere in the world. So you don't have to go back to the San Francisco office in their case. You can go to whatever, an Airbnb somewhere. It's Airbnb, come on.
Yeah, of course.
They don't pay for the cleaning fee, So you can meet there and you can just hang out. And I see that because, for instance, with one of my clients, we were working, I was flying there in Italy. I was flying there once every 2 months tops before the pandemic. Then with the pandemic, we stopped and we started working remotely. Mm-hmm. And then, we kind of thought, okay, this kind of works actually. I don't have to fly.
But it does work. Like
But what I've done, because that's, I think, the interesting thing is I told them, we need to see each other sometimes. Because there were new people in the team that I was mentoring. I haven't met them. And I was like, this feels weird.
Yeah.
But when we meet each other, it's a fucking party.
Yeah.
Like I bring cakes, I bring presents. I went there with like a pile of books in the book that I wrote, Zero to AI. I have a few here. Shameless plug. So I brought a bunch of those. And I was like, let's make a party, And so I tried to make something like, because this is what my feeling is about working in the office. From that experience that I had was 8 hours per day. And out of these 8 hours, 2 max were actually worthwhile. The other 6 were, oh my God, why am I here? This could be so much better if I had my couch to work from like this. Or, also I was in Rome, so I had to fight with traffic,
Yeah.
That I think made it exponentially worse. I think being in Denmark will be different.
Yeah,
but so I'm trying to kind of like maximize the 80% of the time where you can be alone, to just make it really comfortable and make it really easy for me. But the 20% of time where you want to have...
but see, it's not the 80-20. What you described before, it's the once a quarter, it's 99, it's not 80-20. If
it
was 80-20, I could understand that. I think meeting once a quarter is way too little.
Be 1 out of 12 basically, which would be...
But like meeting once a week is
8%.
like, then you build a real relationship. You don't really, if you meet someone for 3 days and then you never see them again for 3 months.
Yeah.
I don't think that you can build a serious, I mean, I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm saying it's not optimal.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about is optimal. I think the 3 to 2, 3 days at work, 2 days at home. I think Apple is doing something like that, if I'm not mistaken. The 3 to 2 ratio, I think it's spot on.
But you know what changed my mind about, because I'm, let's do remote, work from home, do whatever the hell you want, okay? What made me think, oh, maybe actually there's a point in working from the office was a question that I found on Twitter.
Oh, I have another one. Sorry if I interrupt you. Remind me to tell you another very big reason, because I think I'll forget otherwise.
Okay. So this guy said, you have 2 startups that are competing against you. One of them is fully remote, 10 people working remotely or in different places of the world. The other company, the other startup has 10 people in an office working together as a team.
Yeah.
Which one are you most afraid of? And I was like, 100% the one with 10 people in a room.
Fuck yeah.
Which is irrational from a certain point of view, because I guess that the one that is remote has
more resources.
Not just more resources, but also it's easier to hire people. Like the idea that the best people are or work, living at 10 kilometers of difference doesn't make sense, right?
But it's not only about the skills. Like teams are not only about the sum of the skills of the individuals. There's something about how individuals collaborate together that increases the sum to some power, in my opinion. And what makes that power bigger is the relationships you build. Like, for example, have you ever had, this is what I said, I really need to tell you. Have you ever had a good whiteboard session online?
Oh, no, never.
It doesn't fucking happen.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't happen. Like, what's better than literally, like, having a whiteboard, I'm standing with a fucking pen, like, writing all sorts of crazy graphs, and then you're, like, there giving me feedback and talking, and then we switch, and then you write some crazy graphs. Yeah. Like, I do that every day. Every day, at least once, I have a whiteboard session with a colleague. Because, we're solving problems, we're coding. It's all about the whiteboard stuff. It just doesn't fucking work online.
It doesn't work.
The first company that fixes the whiteboard thing online, like remote, I think what Matt is trying to do with the metaverse and all that stuff, that would be a huge thing. But I don't think they can.
What do you think about that actually? Because I'm kind of skeptical about the metaverse.
I'm hugely skeptical.
I think everybody is.
Yeah,
okay?
Come on.
But
Have you heard about Scott Galloway?
Of course I know. I love him.
Shout out to Prof G. But by the way, you should have us on your podcast.
At some point, yes, please.
So what he said was, I think he hates Meta and he hates Mark Zuckerberg, right? And he basically said, people, yeah. Good job. Just invest as much money as you can in this because it's never gonna work, and I want you to, die on this thing. Basically, like it's basically he said, it's never gonna fly, and I don't like you, so please put as much money as you can in this, so you minimize the chances that you actually exist in 5 years.
They just announced that they lost all the $9 billion on this, and their stock went down 20%.
Yeah, man. I'm not. I mean, it's a tough bet, but I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised either, but. I was reading, Ben Thompson, the guy from Strategy.
No idea.
I love the guy, but he needs to change name. Okay. Like Strategy. I cannot.
You pronounce it. Yeah.
It's spelled Stratechery.
Oh my goodness.
Strategy. What is it? I don't know.
Strategy and treachery?
I have no idea. Maybe it's just because I'm Italian. I don't understand it. I don't know. Anyway,
both are.
The guy is really smart. Okay, he's really, really cool. He's a tech analyst, basically. And so he wrote this blog post when he said that he would be as me and you, a metaverse skeptic. But then he had one remote meeting using VR, and he was like, "Holy fuck!"
Yeah,
like.
Yeah, man, I've never tried it, so it could be that
cool.
I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
And so, basically, his opinion is the following. Because, now Meta announced the partnership with...
wasn't it Microsoft?
Microsoft.
Yeah.
With Teams.
So that's a big fucking deal.
That's a big fucking deal. Because he said, basically, that all the gaming and, lol, this is fun, applications don't make sense. Microsoft is everywhere.
They're fucking everywhere.
Have you used Teams? I guess you use Teams.
Yeah, that's our main platform. Yeah,
it's bad.
For communication. It's not terrible. It's fine. I mean,
it's pretty bad.
I would say. I mean, I guess I don't have a good comparison because I've always been used to like my previous experience was with Skype. So
yeah, Skype is Microsoft as well. So,
so Skype is fucking terrible. Teams is, I would define it as okay.
So, but the thing is, Microsoft, I had some clients that were using the Google Suite. So Google Meet, Gmail, etc., Google Drive, and they were super happy with it.
Yeah.
Until the pandemic hit, and everybody was like, oh shit, we need to use this so much more. We already have a contract with Microsoft for all Azure and all the stuff, Office 365. Bundling, baby.
I'm a shareholder, full disclosure.
Okay. I don't remember if I have Microsoft stock. I may have. I honestly don't remember. Anyway.
You need to get on top of your portfolio, man.
I need to get on top of my portfolio. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I may have a little bit of Microsoft. Anyway, they just switched to Teams. Everybody hated it. Everybody, except...
Isn't it better than Zoom? Zoom sucks.
Zoom has a lot more potential, though.
I think it sucks.
It's fake.
They're dead. Anyway,
I don't know if they're dead, but anyway, okay, hot take. So nobody liked it. Two departments liked it. Procurement, because they had one single invoice to pay.
Right.
And IT, because they were like, well, we already did all the freaking compliance shit. Same contracts, same, firewall stuff. Cool, let's keep going. Anyway, so there was this graph that was amazing, like the growth of Zoom, the growth of Microsoft Teams.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They started late, and then suddenly, they basically already had the customer base there.
Of course, but that's what Microsoft does. It's the same with Azure.
Exactly. So the interesting thing is now they have a partnership with Meta, which basically means that who the fuck buys a $1,500 VR thing? Which consumer buys that when there's no product?
It's B2B.
It's B2B, baby.
Yep.
So who has a lot of money? Enterprise. What's the use case? Remote working is an enterprise use case. So his thesis was that the first, the kind of the beachhead application of the metaverse was going to be remote meetings, remote work, and Meta and Microsoft is the best combination to make that happen.
Do you think that, let's say, big companies that have huge IT budgets that can afford to buy a bunch of Oculus and things like that, do you think they will actually pay? How much does an Oculus cost?
$1,500.
$1,500. Do you think they will pay $1,500 per employee to allow them to have meetings where they feel like they're in the same room?
I think some of them will do that for some employees.
Like who?
Early adopters, really cool techie companies.
Which employees are so valuable?
Senior management that is flying around.
Yeah, but are they the kind of employees that are not able to actually meet in the same room or don't want to? I doubt it. It's developers, man. Developers are the ones that love remote work because they have their hugely, ergonomic chair. They have their perfect keyboard. They have set up, and they don't give a fuck about people, right? They don't want to talk with anybody. They just want to write code. Yeah. They are the prototype of the person that has remote work as a lifestyle. They don't give a fuck about connecting. They're not gonna
But they cost. So if you work for a Silicon Valley company, let's put, because we need to think about early adopters right now. Yeah. Okay. So if you think about who will be an early adopter, like a super techie company, imagine Silicon Valley company. Snowflake. Yeah. They pay how much? $200,000, $300,000 per year for employee. If a $1,500 device improves productivity by 5% ROI positive, that's it done.
But is it? That's what I'm saying. Is it going to improve the productivity of the star developers in a company like Snowflake to feel more connected to the other star developers?
I have no idea.
Do they need to feel connected? I think they're lone wolves. They're hugely capable individuals that are also a little bit asocial most of the time, stereotypically. Yeah. Right?
But it's true. I don't know, man. But
although I love the fact that Microsoft is in this because it makes a lot of sense. They have Teams. This is for remote collaboration. Let's make a partnership. I don't even know how it works. What's the actual deal there? Do you know?
I think the deal is it's kind of interesting because basically Microsoft is doing again what it did with Windows, basically. So they're telling Meta, hey Meta, you make the hardware, you make all the hardware investments, you create a platform, you create also the SDKs.
Yeah.
So all the software layer for the interactions and stuff. And then we build, actually no, it's a little bit different because Meta builds the OS as well, the operative system. We build the applications on top, basically.
So they will build the Teams for
VR.
For VR.
Yeah.
Microsoft will. And then
when a company buys the product, who gets the money and how does the split?
I mean, that I don't know, but
they haven't disclosed that, have they?
I don't think they have.
It would be super interesting to find out.
It would be so fun. But I think it will, I mean, imagine if I am, big freaking company and I decide that, 1,000 of my employees need to do meetings in VR, okay? Yeah. Cool. I mean, I will imagine that Microsoft Teams has an additional cost for Teams in VR, and you need to have that upfront cost. So basically Microsoft gets the monthly subscription thing that goes up by X, and Meta gets a one-time fee, which just to buy the hardware. But I think the Meta is not interested in that money.
So if I'm the company, I buy the hardware from Meta and I pay the subscription to Microsoft.
I will suppose that that's the deal. And basically Microsoft is selling the devices for Meta. I think that's the deal. Yeah. That will make sense.
Sounds to me like Meta needs Microsoft more than the other way around.
Oh, 100%. Microsoft is fine without VR.
Yeah.
Microsoft doesn't give a fuck. Like if Apple introduces a VR thing and they're gonna partner with Microsoft, which is not gonna happen for other reasons. But like, let's suppose that happens. Microsoft doesn't care. Yeah. But the thing is, I think the bet the Meta is doing is I think they started off by giving this amazing, crazy vision of the metaverse is gonna be where we're gonna do anything, everything in the future. That's not happening, bro. And so they said, okay, let's try, on a specific segment, a specific vertical to get started.
I think it's way more realistic to think about it in terms of collaboration, because also gaming doesn't really work. Have you tried it? You get sick.
I've tried it. You either get sick or on some products it's really fun, but you know what happens? You try and you're like, whoa, this was amazing. Thank you. And then you fuck off. Yeah. Like it's a really, really vertical, like really narrow market. Yeah. I agree that could be the beachhead market, but I think what they figured out, I think the strategy was, let's find a small niche that likes this product, buys it for one specific use case, and then they get used to the experience, and then we just expand to everything else.
But they more or less bet the whole house on that. It's crazy.
It's crazy, but I mean...
But that's why the stock is down, 80% in the last year or something?
I think, yeah.
From all-time highs?
60 or 70s, 80, I don't know, something like that.
A lot.
But so I think in the beginning they thought that the beachhead segment was gaming, and people will use it to game, and they will get used to it, they will love it, and then we'll start doing everything else basically there, from dating to sports. And now they realize, holy shit, there's actually really few people that like gaming, and the people that like gaming in VR like gaming in VR, period. They're not gonna do anything else on VR. So the whole metaverse thing doesn't work. Yeah. You know the data about...
They added legs, man.
They added what?
Legs.
What is legs?
Have you heard about legs? Like
legs? Oh yeah, wow. I mean,
yeah, because until like 2 weeks ago,
your avatar in the Meta VR platform didn't have legs. You're just floating around. Now you have legs. Congratulations.
Well, disrupts it, bro.
Yeah.
But like, have you read the data about Decentraland and usage?
Nope.
So Decentraland was this big metaverse platform, right?
Okay.
And since the blockchain platform, like you can track transactions on Decentraland, you're looking at Ethereum basically.
So wait, so it's transactions of
you can buy things and interact.
Okay, so it's a VR marketplace.
Kind of. I never played with it, but it's basically like a metaverse thing where the economy of this metaverse thing is based on Ethereum.
Okay.
And not just buying goods and stuff, but also like powering certain experiences you need to pay for Ethereum. Okay. Which means that you can track how many transactions are happening. Mm-hmm. And if some company made a study and they found out that they have like something like 32 daily active users.
Yeah.
32.
Yeah.
And their valuation is like, I think it was 32, but like if it's less than 100, okay? The valuation is like $1.5 billion. Like no fucking sense whatsoever.
But like I read an article in the New York Times last week, and it was basically this very smart journalist said, okay, I'm gonna try this out. I'm gonna go into this chat on the metaverse, which is supposed to be the most famous chat application, and there were 5 people.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. But so then, if I go back to what Meta was trying to do, I think they said, we start with a narrow segment, which is gaming, and then people are gonna love it, and then they're gonna expand to everything else. And then they figure out, okay, fuck, actually, people that are interested in gaming are not interested in anything else, and they're also very few. So let's do something else. And that something else is becoming work collaboration.
Makes sense.
Which would make sense. It's a big bet. I mean, Mark is betting the whole house on it.
I can see it better than everyone else dating, for example, on the metaverse. Yeah. But it's still a long bet, man.
But I don't know, because like I was reading this article, and Ben Thompson, who's a smart guy and as a skeptic, as I was saying, he was like, I've tried it and it was amazing. Like, this is what converted me. This is what made me think, shit, this is big. And I don't know. I mean, the hardware is gonna get better for sure. I think it's really hard because like Meta, in the end of the day, is a one-trick pony.
But isn't there something also about very biological, very physical about looking at a screen for a long time? And like, have you heard about like Zoom depression? I don't think this is the right way to put it, but like there was a period of time this isn't the right term. That's not how it's called. It's not Zoom depression, but it's something like that. Where basically during the pandemic, because every human interaction we had was on screen, where you don't actually have eye contact. Because you're not looking inside the camera, you're looking at the screen.
Yeah.
And that actually breaks the connection as a human being. And also like you're staring at a bunch of pixels and you get so tired. Like when I was working from home every day, having calls and stuff from home, I was so smashed by the end of it. Because I feel like I get energy from physical interaction with people, like what we're having now. And then staring at a screen all day just drains me completely.
But have you listened to the podcast interview, Lex Fridman interviewing Mark Zuckerberg?
Yes.
Because he talks about this. He says, actually in the metaverse, and I say this, there's one problem in Zoom. If I'm talking to you or if I'm talking to the guy next to you, I'm looking at the same fucking spot, basically. Because it's really hard to understand who I'm talking to. Yeah. Whereas in the metaverse, I'm like, hey, Edoardo, what you think about this?
And what
about you? But you're an avatar, or you're a realistic rendering of yourself. But just the fact that I can turn my head and suddenly I'm looking at somebody else, and for you it's evident that I'm talking to that person and not to you, he says that makes the experience so much better. I don't know, but that's the thing. My understanding of VR, and this is the problem that Meta has, is that you don't appreciate it until you try it.
You could be. Yeah.
And it's a $1,500 device.
It's a lot of money.
You know what really shocked me?
I mean, iPhones are not that far from that.
That's true if you think about it. Yeah, wow, crazy.
I mean, what's the iPhone Pro now?
1,300 euros, something like that.
I mean, if you give me a VR headset that I can use as an iPhone.
Okay, but now, do you know the battery life?
Maybe that's what they're doing.
I think that's what they're trying to do. I don't know.
Like if I could replace my phone with a headset.
I don't know.
It's almost the same money.
It is almost the same money, but like, can you do the same stuff? I don't know. Are you gonna look around with, I don't know.
I understand, like, I'm not betting on this.
But yeah, I never realized that it's the same money.
Maybe this is kind of where they're going, you know?
But I think that's the point. Like, when I buy an iPhone, I look at, okay, I need a phone because I am completely helpless as a human being without a phone.
Actually, this is what they're doing, because everyone's saying Meta needs the hardware because they lost control. They don't have control of the hardware.
Yeah.
And they need it. And this is literally what they're trying to do.
Absolutely.
But I think the trick here is they don't want to add a device.
They want to substitute the device. Absolutely. No, but that's for sure. Like, I believe that what they want to do is they want to just bring people outside of the smartphone.
Yeah, but that means that you don't need the smartphone anymore when you have your headset.
Yes, but then the problem is, are people going to actually replace a smartphone with a headset? It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I guess. They're very bulky.
Okay, the battery life. Do you know what's the battery life on the new Oculus?
Let me guess. 3 hours?
No.
Less?
Yes.
Oh, fucking hell.
Come on. I don't remember.
It must be at least 2 hours.
I don't remember if it's 1 or 2.
Oh, God.
And you have a little charger that looks really beautiful, so you can just, unplug it and put it there. But basically, you can do one meeting.
That sucks.
And then out of battery, bro.
That's the problem.
I mean, that thing does an insane amount of stuff. Like, it renders, it has to constantly evaluate what your eyes are doing.
Here's one of my, unformed startup ideas. Okay? And I have about 2 of these a week, and I have made 0 startups so far. So take it for what it's worth.
One.
Yeah, but it wasn't real. Anyway, so now we have a super powerful cloud, right? And now that we have 5G, where you can move data back and forth really quickly, why don't we push the compute to the cloud? So meaning every single calculation that the device has to do, instead of having it in a big chip that is sucking a lot of battery, It just takes the input, sends it to the cloud, gets it back.
I mean, that's kind of what Android was trying to do, if you think about it.
I don't know.
I mean, and the whole idea about Android was that all the computation, all the cloud photography, all the computational photography was happening in the cloud. And then Apple said, no, actually, we push all the way to having computation on the device because it's safer, more privacy.
Yeah.
You know, people feel more in control. Like, I think privacy.
Come on, do people really care about? So let's say, if I gave you a device, I don't think this is the reason. If I gave you a device that is half the weight and 5 times the battery life, but as a trade-off, you have to accept the fact that computation happens in the cloud. Do you say no?
But technically, 5G consumes a lot of battery.
Yeah, but it's one processor instead of a lot of other stuff. Like you don't need a what is it called? A GPU on your device once you push it to the cloud. This is all assuming that the connection can be fast enough where it's not laggy and all that, right? Which probably is not a safe assumption to make. But let's just work with that for 1 second. I feel like if you could remove all the hardware except for the chip that connects with 5G and your screen,
it will make sense. But I think that physically, imagine if you want to edit a video, for instance, and you want to push that video to the cloud. Sure, I mean, let's assume that it's super fast, but just the energy consumption of pushing 1 gigabyte of stuff onto the cloud is going to be probably higher than...
Yeah, but it's not on your device, right?
No, the push, like the 5G consumption, basically. The data upload consumption.
Okay, but that's not... You don't burn electricity for that, right?
I think you do.
Really?
I mean, I don't know. When I use Instagram on 5G, my phone gets hot. And I don't think it's Instagram. I think it's just I'm downloading a hell lot of data.
Okay, but don't we agree that it will be... I agree you will need a lot of that, but you will also need almost zero of everything else.
I don't know, honestly. I think people are trying that.
I'm not a hardware engineer. So
Me neither, but there's also... I think the other thing that I read about the metaverse is that it's so crucial, the speed of the interaction. Like a few milliseconds, like it's night and day. It's not like, hey, this is a little bit slow. It's like, I can use this, I cannot use this, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think in that case, everything needs to be like top notch, like geared to the nanosecond of speed.
And why don't they make it with like a pocket battery and a cable?
Because it's awful, I think.
Is it?
I think the future is the vision that they have, the greenfield thinking, best in class kind of experiences, what Zuckerberg pitched a year ago when he made that video that was so lame, oh my God, of him doing,
speaker.
Oh my God, doing all sort of crazy shit in the metaverse without that existing at all. Like the metaverse was here and he pitched a vision that was right here, but that's what he wants to do. Like he wants to do something super small, super lightweight, that is going to work. And what I'm really interested in is what Apple is doing.
Yeah, so when are they coming out with the glasses?
They say 2023. I have no idea. But
who's saying? Apple's saying?
No, Apple doesn't say shit.
I mean, where's the car also? Like
Tim said, I am so excited about AR. This is going to be the best thing.
Yeah, but I believe in AR. I can see that happening.
But it's device. That's what I don't understand. AR with a smartphone, I don't believe in it.
It's still... Like it can work. Like, have you seen the Google Maps thing with the 3D arrows telling you where you're going?
It's cool, but it's not like, oh my God, I can see an arrow with a car.
Better than VR.
Yeah, but it's a feature. It's not a paradigm shift.
Yeah, I agree.
Like these guys are not looking for this is cool, this is nice. These guys are looking for this is the next big thing. People are gonna stop interacting with smartphones in the way they used to be.
But does Apple want you to stop interacting with smartphones?
I think Apple wants to probably put a
next
foot.
iPhone.
Yeah, they want to put a foot into whatever is going to disrupt the iPhone. Because if something disrupts the iPhone, it's a big fucking problem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but that's so hard. What could disrupt the iPhone?
I mean, the iPhone disrupted Nokia in the first place, so.
Yeah. Something eventually will disrupt Apple, but it feels so. Have you seen what they did with the iPad now, the new iPad from 2023? They made it, I don't know why it came up on my YouTube feed. I guess the algorithm thought it could be interesting for me, but apparently a lot of like tech reviewers, like people like MKBHD, you know him? Like he's a great guy, but they all have like pet peeves about the new iPad because they made it such that, first of all, it has an a HDMI. No, what is it? USB.
HDR.
No,
USB-C.
Yeah, USB-C. Thank you. USB-C port. But the pen that you can use it with, has a Lightning port. So you need a dongle, right? And the other thing is, the new pen. So this is because the only pen you can use with this one is the first model. The new model, you cannot use it because that one charges like with this magnet on top of the iPad. But because they moved the camera to the long side of the iPad, they couldn't fit the slot with the magnets and the charging for the pen anymore. So you can't use the pen. So it's like all the tech reviewers are super pissed at that. It seems like they fucked up. Sorry for the
No.
You can totally cut this from the podcast later.
No, I think okay, but like it's so annoying when they do this kind of stuff. But then they've done the same thing with the Mac when they were like just USB-C, and people were like, what the fuck? And now it's like, oh, just USB-C, bro.
Yeah.
Like cool. No, but going back to the AR device that they're gonna do, the interesting about Apple is that they do not ship prototypes. That's the biggest difference between Apple and Facebook. Facebook is super happy, or Meta, is super happy to talk about a vision of a product that does not exist.
Yeah.
Apple doesn't do that. Apple, just to give you an idea how they think, the HomePod is not for sale in Italy or in Denmark. The reason why is because Siri doesn't work as well in Italian or in Danish than in Spanish or English.
Yeah, so it's either perfect or they don't sell it.
Or I'm not selling it, which means
they can afford it.
What the fuck are they gonna push when it comes to AR? If they do a device, it gotta be perfect because that's what they do. It's like,
or they miserably fail and they never push anything.
I don't know.
That could happen.
But
I mean, where's the fucking car?
Because the car doesn't work. Like
that's what I'm saying.
Teslas don't work.
What do you mean?
Autopilot doesn't work.
And so it's can we get into self-driving, man, please?
Oh my God, I feel like it will take
enough time.
an hour and a half. We are 72 minutes with an hour and 10 minutes.
Feels like 10 minutes, man.
Feels like 10 minutes.
If we get into self-driving...
We need to make another episode about self-driving.
I'm afraid so.
But so Tesla doesn't work. Just to close this concept, Tesla self-driving doesn't work. That's why Apple doesn't have self-driving, because it doesn't work yet.
Yeah.
And so if that's the way that they think. It's like, if it works, it's out. If it doesn't work, it's not out. We keep it somewhere.
Yeah.
So Benedict Evans, he says, you know him, right?
I don't think I do.
I love the guy, big tech analyst. He says, I imagine this boardroom with Tim Cook and a bunch of other people that every year, every 6 months, every whatever, they get a device. They get a more, a sensor, like a visual thingy.
Yeah.
They try it on and they say,
nope.
Not ready yet. Sorry, bro. Try again in 6 months.
Yeah.
It's like, not ready yet. Try again in 6 months.
And it's billions and billions. What's Apple's R&D budget?
Tens of billions. I don't know. I know that they have 200 billions in cash. So
that's the balance sheet. Yeah. And how much revenue are they making?
I don't remember the numbers, but it's in the order of magnitude of like hundreds of billions
cool
per
to Google
quarter.
on a podcast, is it? We need like
I think it's
Jamie
cool,
from
we need
Rogan.
we need a big, iPad that you can just.
You have like an Alexa or something?
I don't have an Alexa.
Oh, that's a shame.
I need an iPad, but not the new one because it doesn't charge.
It's weird.
No, but just to close this.
Yeah.
What are they gonna put next year? If they're actually gonna release something in 2023 and it's gonna work, it must be 10x better than what Meta has.
But they didn't commit to releasing something.
They didn't commit, but all the analysts are like, 2023 is going to be the year when. I don't know if that's true or not, to be honest. But if that's the case, oh my God, we're going to...
Isn't it the same people that have been excited about the Apple car for the last 5?
Maybe.
I don't know, man. I don't know any Apple stuff.
I have a friend who works for Apple, and I would love him to come here and speak, but it's impossible to get these guys to speak. I know nothing of what they're doing.
Because it's very secretive. Maybe, you know what we should do? We should do this with more beers and off camera.
I had a friend...
And I want to be there.
There's this friend who worked for Apple. I gave him so much vodka.
Yeah.
He did not speak.
You should try whiskey. I make some good whiskey cocktails.
Maybe. Next time?
That's the one, man.
Cool. Let's wrap this up, man.
Yeah.
I mean, this was long and fun. I feel like it was 10 minutes, but it was not 10 minutes.
Curious
It was
to see
75.
if people would like it as well. But for me, it was. I mean, it pretty much felt like any other conversation we've had in front of a
Exactly,
beer.
but with a camera.
Just to speak in English instead of Italian, which we are speaking Itanglish anyway whenever we talk.
Yes.
It's like we live in Denmark. But anyway, yeah, that was awesome, man.
That was fun. Let us know if you like this or not.
Catch you next time. Cheers.
Ciao.